Hey everyone, Jason here with STS. I'm going to be working on an iPhone 6s that was sent here. Well, let's see, it's supposed to be board only, sent here as no image after a screen replacement. Before I get started on that, let me say I'm going to have a couple of different formats to this YouTube channel. One of them is the slightly higher quality, a little more edited version that's been used in the last couple of videos. That makes for a better production quality of stuff to go onto YouTube. It looks better, it flows better, but it is a royal pain in my ass. It's labor intensive. In order for me to be able to do more with YouTube, right now I have to settle for slightly lower quality and much easier to maintain. I need to be able to go boop, record, and here we go. With this setup here, this also allows me to do some live streaming. So I'm going to do a little bit of bandwidth testing, and I'm going to start live streaming some of this because sometimes it's just what's going on here in the shop, and what I want to share with you is not really a specific repair video or a specific repair video. I don't know how else to say it. It's I think you'll get a better experience with live streaming. So anyways, I have not had a look at this board whatsoever. I have absolutely no clue what I'm getting into. I just know it's an iPhone 6s and has no image after a screen replacement. Anyone want to place bets on FL4211? I think it's FL4211. Let's have a look. See, that's my problem with live streaming. It's like, what do I do? What do I do whenever am I like going to completely premeditate a repair and like investigate it? No, the only thing that I can do is not hold back and not hide anything. So let's have a look at this one. We're not going to reveal who the customer is because let me show you what I'm looking at. I'm going to switch you over to the microscope so that you can see what I'm seeing. This format's going to be better and easier to maintain. Okay, I think I've figured out the source of my nightmares here. Got two cameras that clash and keep locking up. Anyways, here we are back with the 6S. I'd really like to do a repair video today. I'm going to hold it up to here so that you can see what I'm seeing. If you can see, this bracket has been tore up here. Okay, let's see if we can make sure that nothing is shorted out. I do see... Alright, let me make sure I can try to focus you guys. I see one little bit of solder here. This stuff's all been scraped on quite a bit, and I really don't know why. And you can see over here already, I think I called it. You see how this, I'll try to focus it in here for you. You see how this rubbery coating, not the sticky pad, useless pad on top they put on it, or this, see how this rubbery overfill is lifted up right here? That is a telltale sign of this little dude being blown. As you can see, it is absolutely blown. This is going to be a repair that makes me wish that I had hot tweezers. One day I'll foot the bill, but not anytime soon. Not as long as I keep having iPhone 6 Plus Touch IC jobs coming back. And don't act like you don't have any returns on that repair either, because that's bullshit. I know you do. There was a time when I talked all high and mighty, and I still have a really high success rate, but man, something that I have learned about that repair is that if it's going to resurface once, it's going to resurface again, and it's going to resurface again really quick. Now, if it doesn't resurface right away, there's a good chance that phone might last a year. But it is eventually going to come back. Eventually going to have it. It's going to see that thing again. That's the elephant in the room with that repair. What nobody wants to talk about. Probably got shops unsubscribing left and right now. What? Don't tell them that. Don't tell everybody that. That's a gravy job, man. Without touch IC repair, you're actually left with having to use your brain to make money, and trust me, I've had a little bit of a taste of it. Now, don't get me wrong, I've still got a half dozen touch IC jobs in the shop. Where am I going with this? What the hell am I doing? I'm taking all this off. So I still got a half dozen of those in the shop all the time. And it's a gravy job. Like, you can just blast through them and get them all done. It ain't something where you got to sit down and really think and solve a problem. So, I don't know, I guess it serves as somewhat of a security blanket, but the fact of the matter, and see, if I had hot tweezers, I may not be clearing this off so much. But the fact of the matter is that there's no cure. there's no cure for touch IC failure. You can get it to go away for a really long time. I think if you take one that may be showing just a vague hint of symptoms, or take phones that don't show any symptoms yet and put the future shield on them, you know, solder a metal plate to the bottom, that might be a permanent solution. But I feel like once you've already seen it, there's not really a permanent fix. Oh dear. This should be a 5-minute job. Yeah, I still have, I mean, with the volume that I do on the touch IC jobs, my return rate is still really low, but what I kind of feel like I'm starting to notice on the returns that I do get is that a second, third, fourth, and fifth repair doesn't fix them. They're doomed. There's no cure. And there seems to have been a little bit of an uptick in them here lately, because before you could get a return and do it, and I don't know, maybe it's just my luck, but you get a return and do it, and it would stay done, and the customer would be happy long enough to trade it in or whatever it was that they had in mind. But now it's like, once they come back one time, you might as well just go ahead and throw in the towel. Now, granted, people beat the shit out of their phones. That's, you know, that's a big deal too, but still, some of them that I've had come back, they come back in the box, and I know the customer didn't hurt it because I could do as many touch IC replacements as I want, and I probably should have heated this up a little bit before pulling all this off. That would have been smart. I lost my train of thought there. It's been a long few weeks. You'll notice I haven't posted anything on YouTube. There's a reason for that. Every time I post something on YouTube, I've got an uptick in repair tickets, and it always causes an uptick here. And whenever I'm running, you know, 35 to 55 devices behind, it's really difficult taking time for me to justify sitting down and making a free video. Well, not really free. I mean, there's a little bit of money there with ad revenue, but it's by no means nothing that you're going to pay your bills with. So I haven't been able to make much time for this. I've been totally swamped, and it's been tough to make a video. So that's why I have simplified this recording setup. I'd like to start live streaming, and can't do that using separate devices to record, which is what I've done on a couple of those other the more recent videos that I have uploaded. Oh, I should have peeled all this off before I hit record so I don't look like an idiot. But you know what I know? I know I'm not the only one sitting there on a Thursday peeling this goofy shit off an iPhone 6s. I know I'm not the only one. So you guys can watch me struggle with it. Pain in the ass. Why did they even put this on here? I heard some crap about increasing the water damage properties of it, but come on, get real. This is not going to keep water off of these pins. And I mean, maybe some small amount, but what is this stuff here for? Golly. It's like with every new model, they're going to add some new aspect of adhesive. The tech's got to dig around. Alright, am I holding a component that used to be right there? I feel something hard between my fingertips. Hope I didn't just pop it off of there. I might have. I was being kind of aggressive. Alright, I'm going to set the phone out of the way, and I'm going to move my fingertips in the view. And I'm going to drop whatever this is between my fingers, because it came off on my tweezers. What is that? No, it's just a blob of goo. No harm done. We're going to check that on ZXW, though, before the end of this repair. Because it sure looks like there's a hole there. And if there's a hole there, there used to be a component there. That means something is missing. Well, we got a lot of prying along that connector. Are we in focus? Can you see what I'm looking at? Yeah, you can. That looks like dog shit. Okay. Yeah, man, it's getting really, really, really hard to continue taking in previous repair attempts and provide a warranty. It's really, really getting to be a pain in the ass. Because with all this rubbery overfill, now on something like this, it hasn't had a bunch of hot air used on it like I'm getting ready to do. With all this rubbery overfill, once somebody starts taking hot air to it and they float all those components, it is an absolute nightmare to try to get all the features working again. I've been running into that a lot on botched repair rescues on touch IC repairs, where they just floated the shit out of everything, and I can't warranty that. So I've been giving out a lot of data only calls, and you know, when I wasn't so busy, back whenever I was talking about special deals and stuff for people that wanted to outsource to me, man, I'm regretting saying some of that stuff. But whenever I was talking about back whenever I wasn't so busy, those botched repair things, it wasn't that big of a deal. Because I could spend the time on it. But now, with the way my workflow is, man. It's excruciatingly difficult to find time to work on some of the stuff that's been botched. It's, you know, I've got a really big heart, so in a lot of cases I'll do my very best, and I'm sorry, you really can't see what I'm doing. To finish this video, I had to eliminate a camera, and it's the one that's up here that points down on my table. So we're not going to worry about that too much right now. I'm just going to keep this here repair moving, because I want to get it done and eat lunch. You know, there are a lot of days I wake up and I don't feel like fixing shit. I don't feel like doing this. I'm going to put a plate on the battery first. But at the end of the day, I get to do something that I love, and I get paid for it. I get to feed my family doing something that I love. So, you know, there's a lot of pitfalls to this business. A lot of garbage you're going to get into. You're going to get blamed for a lot of stuff, and you're the guy that fixes it, so you're the guy that also broke everything else. There's a lot of pitfalls, but at the end of the day, I get to feed my family micro soldering. I get to do something I love. And that's another reason why I like bringing it to YouTube, because I like to show people. And I also like to encourage others to do it. Now, I'm a piss poor teacher. I'm trying to get better at that. And I'm planning on releasing some shorter videos where I can answer some of the more basic questions that people have asked that mostly pertain to heat and making solder flow. I feel like I do have something to offer there in terms of how I get it to work this easily. Because I know how I get it to work this easily. I got a little bit of a finesse for it, and whoops, I really knock it out. But I'm poor at sharing that with people. What I'm doing right now, I'm going to put a shield, which I already dropped the ball on that. This tape is in the wrong spot. I'm going to put a shield over the power button, and I bet I can show on Microscope here how I'm going to do it. It'd probably been a lot easier just to take the damn thing out of the housing. Oh well. So what I'm going to do is I'm taking a homemade future-proof shield. I'm sliding it. You know, I should make sure that this phone actually boots before I do this, but I'm going to do something really dumb, and I'm going to take the customer's word for it. Okay, so I just slid a piece of metal in there to shield the power button. Alright, although I'm not planning on using enough hot air here to just destroy everything. Like, I'm going to dilute the pads that this thing is hooked to, provided it still has pads. Sometimes they're burnt to the point where there's nothing left. So, grab me a tool. Let's start heating this little dude up. Man, tell you what, I see a lot of blown backlights on the 6S. When you're lucky, it's FL4211, which I haven't looked on the schematic yet. I think that's what this one is. You'll notice how loose it is. And also notice that I'm just not ripping it off of there, because it is hooked to a pad that's most likely partially blown. Can you see what I'm doing? Wow, it looks way worse on that. So anyway, it's pretty likely to be welded to this pad, and I'm going to try to free it from the pad without destroying the pad, because I want to get this done quick. I don't want to have to run a wire. If that gets destroyed, sometimes there's enough of a nub left there to solder to, but your safest bet from there to provide a robust repair would be to pull the shield and run a line back to one of the caps on the backlight output. You know, they really should call the cathode lines outputs as well, because I feel like people are getting misleaded a little bit. If you check voltage on the backlight circuit between the relative ground on the phone and backlight output, you're going to get pretty well VCC main voltage all the time. You wind up getting 3.7 or 4 or whatever volt, how many volts is there on VCC main. You know what? I'm not using enough hot air to damage anything. That plate's in my way. Get rid of it. So anyway, if you check voltage between backlight anode, oh, I know, everybody in the whole entire world says that wrong except for me. I've been getting chewed out for the way I say anode. But you know what? I was taught to say anode by my dad whenever I was probably 12 years old. golly, no, I wasn't 12. I was younger than that. And I'm telling you right now, there is no hope for getting me to change the way I pronounce that now. I know you're probably supposed to say anode, but I am going to say anode until the end of time. And the more I get chewed out about it, the more I'm going to say it. Alright, I think I can show you why it is I'm being so dainty delicate with this little prick. And by the way, thank you, Apple, for giving us something here that does have the tendency to blow the filter before everything else. That's kind of sweet. Oops, scratch the PCB a little bit. Nobody sees that because my camera's not high enough quality. So I'm going to be trying to get in here and dilute the solder that's on this thing and free up this little weld situation I got going on. I'm going to push it back down a little bit. Oh, it popped loose. Cool. Alright, so our blown filter popped loose automatically. That's kind of sweet. But I don't think my quality's high enough to show you. The pad that it was hooked to right here is a little bit loose. I don't think you're going to be able to see that, and I'm not going to torture it enough to show you because I am on a very strict time limit. Alright, so at no point have I given this thing enough solder or enough heat to melt solder. Freaking touch IC jobs. I still fix a bunch of them, man. There's a bunch of them in the shop right now. But there's never a day where there's not one here for warranty work. I mean, they're not coming back every day, but it seems like at any given time I've got 2 or 3 on the shelf. There's always a trickle of iPhone 6 Plus Touch IC repairs. Now, the iPhone 6 don't come back. I do not have returns ever on the iPhone 6 for Touch IC failure, and it gets just as ugly. It gets the flickering, nasty, flopping down gray bar from the top, but it don't come back for warranty work ever. 6 Plus is a pile of garbage. I would not want to use an iPhone 6 Plus if you gave it to me. You scared the damn thing would butt dial or do something do something to get me in trouble. You can't trust an iPhone 6 Plus. I'm somebody that's been through, oh man, I could query the database. Maybe I'll do that sometime, query my database and see how many of those I've been through. Hundreds and hundreds and hundreds. Alright, I'm going to use an industry standard issue dinner plate toothpick, and that'll give you you want to get some idea here of how big this is. For those of you that don't work on this stuff, this is the tip of a standard toothpick. Alright, see that? Look at that. Okay, and there is the site where I'm trying to put my new filter. So I'm going to take this one little drop of flux and I'm going to lay it right in there. And that's the kind of scale that we're dealing with here. It's kind of small. Alright, since I know this micro pencil does not have enough ass, and my other iron is just simply too big, I'm going to begin to warm this up a little bit. I wonder if that other filter next to it looks a little black. I should have checked this a little better. So I'm going to go ahead and start heating this board up a little bit. I don't want to melt the solder with my iron because that would be too hot. That would melt everything else. So I'm just warming the thing up, and then I'm going to get in there with my iron and try to shine up that pad. It looks to be almost completely gone. I don't know if you can see that or not. I might have to run a wire on this one after all. Let's get in there a little closer. Okay. Having to use both hands to steady myself because I'm hungry. I'm gonna say what came off was a hunk of the filter that I pulled out of there. That looks nice. I got two nice little, as iPad Rehab calls it, fluffy pillows. I really am thankful for the videos that they upload. There's been a couple of problems that would have taken me months to solve. And then there's those guys. So when it comes to board level training and finding somebody to show you the ropes, you really can't beat iPad Rehab. And I hope they don't mind me bragging on them. I know I've been hearing from people that the course is pretty backed up. What am I looking for? Am I looking for oh, backlight filter. Golly. Yeah, you can see me digging through stuff here now. Yeah, like that's... Oh, this is going to be embarrassing. Maybe I can edit this part out. Alright, that would be in this little bin of goodies. It's going to be a filter, a full-size filter. Alright. These things get spilled in the bag, and it's like, good luck finding them. They're so small. Alright, that view's not going to do you much good. So we'll get you back under the microscope. Now this time we're going to go a little hotter. In fact, before I do this, I'm going to float these pads one more time. And I will try to get that as clear as I can, but with the flux in there, it looks like crap. So, we are going to get in here and put just a little bit more leaded solder on these pads. And my reason for that is because I want to make damn sure I have lowered my melting point. See, this is where tweezers would help you if you got any that are small enough to get down in there. Oh yeah, we're definitely, that's where we need to be. So, tiny bit of flux, which I didn't use a toothpick that time. And man, I'm really shaky today. Some days are better than others. Okay. That is just really terrible quality. Alright, so that's about where I'm going to have my zoom set here. I am going to grab a new filter. That are so freaking small coming out of the package you can't even hardly see them. And they get a little smaller. The little ferrite filters that go down next to the battery connector on some of the 5th gens, and that they use all over the place for filters on all of the iPhones are smaller than this. So you can see where I'm putting the new filter. I'm going to sit it right there on my cutesy little pads. And I'm going to use hot air to put that sucker in place. Now for this operation, just to be safe, I'm going to slide me a little shield down in here beside the power button, because I don't want to screw up the power button and have to take the board out. Yeah, do all this to keep from taking the board out and then take the damn board out anyway. That'd be lovely. I really should have tested this phone before doing this. That was stupid. What if it doesn't come on at all? And yeah, always test them before you start. Confirm the problem. This was a dumb mistake I made because I was anxious to record a video. So our goal here is to get this to settle without melting anything else. Here we go. We're on it. We're done. farther on that one. There we go. And since I flooded that joint with leaded solder, it's going to melt considerably lower than the rest of everything, and I was able to make a nice reliable joint here on this filter. A little too much alcohol, a little too much alcohol again. I was able to make a very reliable joint there on that filter without melting everything else around it. And that's a big deal. With all this rubbery overfill, this coating around all this crap, it really sucks to do rework. If you wind up having to do anything major, you wind up peeling all that stuff off of there. So if I had to use the melting point that it would take to melt anything on this board, on that filter, it would be a mess. I'd wind up having to peel all this crap off. You'll see that I got one little bit of a nub of solder there on the corner of this dude. That was from me bumping it with my iron. We're going to leave it. Now remember, we're looking at this under microscope. If you look at that with your naked eyes, you cannot see it. Now I'm still really picky about what I send out the door, but with everything else that you got to put up with in this business, putting up with microscopic cosmetic issues is not something that you should let drag you down. Now listen to me saying that and watch me let that drag me down every day. But I'm learning. Trust me, with some of the crap that I've been putting up with, I'm learning. And really, as far as the tools that I'm using to do this with, this microscope is your most important tool. That microscope, with that microscope, you can do the job with anything. Anything that you can make work. But you got to be able to see what you're working on. So you need a microscope. Okay. Microscopic cosmetic issues. Don't let microscopic cosmetic issues slow you down. And then I'm going to sit here and nitpick. Okay. So I am going to clean that a little bit more with alcohol. And then I'm going to blow this with hot air and dry the oops, wrong end. I'm going to dry the alcohol. Oh, these are these Q-tips that I'm using. I get a lot of questions asked about them. And I don't think some of the people have liked my answer. I buy these at the Dollar General store, at our local Dollar General store, in the cosmetics section, for $1 per bag. They're nothing special for doing micro soldering, but I can tell you there are very limited, very few fibers, because nobody wants fiber in their makeup. So yeah, cosmetic Q-tips. The tips on them, those ones that I'm using right now, they're not like they normally are. The tips on these Q-tips are normally really hard. Like, they're pointy and they're hard. So, okay. There's no way for me to make what I'm working on now look good. A lot of what you're seeing here, this is not flux. This is that leftover sticker residue from those goofy sticker pads Apple put on these things. Alright, so now that I've did a bunch of work to this damn thing, let's test it. I should have tested it first. I hope I don't regret it. Alright, now, one more quick look at this spot, because I don't trust it. Man, I wish that wouldn't have happened to this phone. I don't know, I'm not sure if I'm going to bend this back down. Can I zoom out so you can see it? That flap, I'm not sure if I'm going to bend that back down or if I'm going to cut it off. We'll see. Alright, let's grab a test screen for an iPhone 6s. Hopefully it still works. Now, you're not going to be able to see my hands because I've got that camera disconnected for the sake of actually being able to record this video. I'll figure something out. Doing an awful lot over USB. Oh, don't make me look like a jackass on my video, you damn iPhone 6s. Alright, I'm not going to hook the battery up to that. I'm going to go straight for power supply. Which, you know what, on my new format you could actually read the screen on my cheap power supply. This one you can't, so you're going to have to take my word for it. Wonder if my audio is in time. Hopefully. I don't have to fix that too. Okay. I am setting my power supply to battery voltage. I'm going to set this to 3.9 volts. Okay. I'm going to hook it up to the lines here for power. Whoever made this tool I'm using is some kind of a sick joke. You only put a 12-inch cord on it. Alright, so I'm pushing the power button. I get 80 milliamps, 100 milliamps, 300 milliamps. We're booting with backlight. Hey, didn't I call FL4211? That part I just replaced on the iPhone 6s. Isn't that FL4211? It is. So right there at FL4211, you'll get, you know, pretty well VCC main voltage. You're going to get your 3.7 or 3.8 volts. I started to talk about that earlier and forgot what I was talking about. But if you check between the anode output and the cathode lines on that same driver, I think you're going to see upwards of more like 16 volts. So there is quite a bit of voltage there. This thing is booted and we're up to a passcode screen. I'm going to remove power. Now that could be because I don't think I've ever tested backlight output anode with a screen attached, and I have checked voltage at the backlight on the ribbon itself on the screen, and right there is where I get my 16 volts. Alright, so what am I going to do about this bent piece of metal? See if you can see it. See there? Should I just cut it off? Or should I try to bend that back down and solder it? If I try to bend it back down, is it going to touch anything? It's too risky. We're going to break it off. That's what we're going to do with that piece of metal. You know what? I think it already broke. Can you see it? There we go. Gone. Didn't need you there anyway. Alright. Oh, we had that one component down here. This little dude, remember? What is that? Do we need it? Can we live without it? Am I going to nitpick? Let's get some ZXW tool going on. Alright. I'm going to set you guys to screen capture. Try to get Open Broadcaster out of there. Okay. And let's open up an iPhone 6s. Is it lunchtime yet? Alright, man. So right up here by this connector, it's this little guy here, isn't it? No, better look. Okay, so from the corner of the connector we got one, and it skips a gap, and then we got another one. That's going to be this one. It's for the front mic to ground, DZ3155. So it's 6.8 volts, 100 picofarad. Okay. Well, so 6.8, 100 picofarad. I probably say that wrong too. Alright, let's see what the iPhone 6 has to offer on those components. Oh, I forgot to write down the pitch. Surely it's 01005. Should be the same size. I'm not sure what the pitch is on that. Gotta watch how much I say, people will realize how dumb I am. Seriously, like, if you have got some basic electronics knowledge, you can start building on that and begin troubleshooting this stuff. But the one thing that you cannot do without is some finesse. If you don't have it, you don't have it. If you're like a bull in the china shop and everything you do gets blown to pieces, probably always going to be like that. Some of the stuff that I get, man, I got a really big heart for people, but there's only so much time I can allow myself to spend on some of this stuff. I got to start setting some really tough limits, so that's the only way I can stay in business. I can't spend hours and hours and hours fixing this one little thing. So anyway, on the iPhone 6, we've got DZ1114. We're going to try to keep track of our polarity on these. I think it may actually matter, but I really don't know what the purpose of this component is, so I'm not going to act like I do. Okay, DZ1114. Let's find the component first. Now I'm worried if I don't do this, this guy's going to get this back and is not going to have a working front microphone. And we're going to have to do the same thing here with our shielding and diluting that. So let's go ahead and get that set up and ready. I could probably leave that out and just be like, well, dude, you didn't pay me to fix your front mic. You paid me to fix backlight. But we're not going to act like that, are we? Tell you what, it's been getting really tough, man. Some of the stuff that people's been sending here. You will notice I've been forced to put some policies on our website. So for those of you that have been really used to doing everything on nothing but a handshake, I'm truly sorry. For the most part, those policies are there to protect our business, and they're there for assholes. So, you know, there's a lot of cases where I'm still going to make exceptions and branch outside of our pretty little way of doing things here, but for the sake of being able to stay in business, and like some of the stuff that people... Anyways, we're not going to go into that right now. Seriously though, if I fix something for free, like, man, I really can't fix everything else, but I got this working, I'm going to send it back as a no fix. If I fix it for free, I don't expect to see that coming back here for warranty work. And I'm not going to accept it for warranty work either. If I did it for absolute free, there's a reason why I didn't consider it a full-blown fix. So, yeah, policies, man. If it wasn't for a certain kind of people, you wouldn't need policies. Policies are there for certain people. Good business can be done on a handshake. It really can. One side of that is clearly ground. Alright, we got a couple of little fluffy pillows. You couldn't really see that because I didn't have the microscope full screen for you. You still can't see it because there's a god-awful glare. Gosh, why am I still working on this phone? I am hungry, man. Okay, so DZ1114 on an iPhone 6. Here's an iPhone 6 that I've removed the RAM from the top of the CPU. That was fun. Alright, so we get in here next to that same connector. We got, on this side, we've got a big filter, and the first one is DZ1114. We are going after, right here, we're going after DZ1114 right now on this iPhone 6. Let me grab a piece of tape. I'm almost out of Captain tape. I got to order it, so I'm going to reuse a piece. All the things I could run out of the cheapest thing in the whole shop. No, wait, that would be my ultrasonic cleaner. That's the cheapest thing in the whole shop. But I still can't run out of that. It's going in its second year of service and still cleaning the shit out of boards for 60 bucks. I'm not griping about that. Alright, DZ1114, who's your daddy? And I'm not going to worry about smoking things on this board because, as you can see, this board will never work again. Boop. DZ1114. Thank you, drive through. Okay. Shit. Lost my orientation. Alright, so this was taped on the table like that. I don't want to go back and look at my own video. And I pulled it off there just like that. So, toward my left was going to the pin on the connector. Switch this back over to the iPhone 6s. I'm really not sure if the polarity on this one matters, so you can't see what I'm doing. I'm sitting here holding this in my hand like this little grain of sand, and I'm making sure I don't turn it so I can keep track of my orientation. Alright, ZXW is probably going to crash here. If I could just tell which side was going to the... Hey, I can tell which side's going to the connector. I can see it. Alright, let's jump straight in there with hot air and set this little piece of crap in place because I am ready to be done with this phone. It's the only thing left. This and a little bit of testing. Alright, my little metal shield I put on the button is getting in my way, so I'm at a really weird angle. Can I even do it with that shield? I can't do it with it there, so I have to pull it. Alright. I hope it's still there. I can't see it. It's too small. It's still there. There we go. Okay. Oh yeah, that lower melting temp, that's what makes this possible. You wouldn't be doing this with hot air successfully without lowering the melting temp. There it is. I'm going to hit it one more time since I knocked it all around there at the end. Can you even see what I'm doing? The next thing I upgrade on this YouTube channel is going to be my microscope camera. this thing is a real bear to maintain to try to produce any reasonable video with. Okay. And I did that without melting anything else around it. I'm pretty sure. I have to go back and watch my video. Maybe I missed something, but alright, so that's the only other thing I've seen right off the bat that was all screwed up. And without that, I think we could wind up with issues on that front mic. I think the front mic would still work, but that's going to be there for some sort of audio related issue. It might be there to filter out noise from a component here nearby. There's no telling why that 6.8 volt 100 picofarad capacitor is right there on the front mic audio line. I'm not going to question it. I'm just going to change it, fix it, because I want to do everything I can to keep this phone from coming back. With iPhone 6 Plus Touch IC failures, I have enough stuff coming back already. Now, come on, don't even act like you're not having any returns. Those things are a pain in the ass. And I don't care what you do. Like the one I had today, pain in the neck. The one I had today, I went ahead and went with brand new ICs. I went with new Cumulus, Mason, and since I really don't know what kind of solder comes on these, I thought I'm going to make sure and get some good clean leaded solder. So I sat here and I took my new chips, and this is one that is on its third time back. So I took my new chips and I went ahead and I reballed them with clean leaded solder. Beautiful job, looks great. And put it all back together. When you first boot it up, it's fine, but once the board cools down from that boot up, it starts to glitch out and you're back to flickering gray bars again. Talk about a pain. A pain in the neck. Let's plug a screen into this thing. And this time I'm going to hook up the customer's battery, which is no doubt completely, totally, and utterly flat dead. And we get backlight, full backlight. We're going to go ahead and test touch functionality here. That part I'll probably clip out because I'm going to try my best not to reveal who it is, because that causes me a lot of grief. Slide to power off. Okay. That is going to be it for this video. I hope you all have successful repairs, and I'm going to plan on using this this setup here for live streaming too. So that's it for now, everybody. Thank you for watching, and have a good day.